Alright guys, this video is just to kind of review what we did yesterday. I'm just going to work out the 4 types of problems that we see when we're modeling quadratics. Look back at your notes though if you need help further when you're doing these problems. Okay, so Alex throws a pebble off a cliff. The path of the pebble is modeled by the equation y equals negative 2x squared plus 16x plus 40, where x is the horizontal distance and y is the vertical distance of the pebble. So how high up was Alex when he threw the pebble? So gotta think, if this is kind of what it would look like for Alex throwing this pebble, it's going to look like that. We're looking at the initial height, or how high up he was at the start. So we're looking at that thing right there, which is really just where it crosses the y-axis. So you got to think, that's when x is 0. So if I plug in 0 for x, it ends up just being our c value. So initial height's pretty easy. It's just that c value. For this, it's 40. It doesn't say the units, so we can just say 40. Now, this next one is, what was the maximum height of the pebble and when did it occur? So there's 2 parts here. It wants to know what the maximum height was and when did it occur. So we're actually looking for 2 things. Now, if you think, there's kind of what we look like when we throw that pebble. Okay. Well, we're looking for this part right here, which is the highest point, which is the vertex. Remember, our vertex is represented by h, k. So when would be the h, or the side to side. K would be the height. So we have to find h first, because we know how to find h. H is just negative b over 2a, which for this is going to be negative 16 over 2 times negative 2. Well, that's just going to be negative 16 over negative 4, which gives us a positive 4. Now, signs are big. They're really important for these. Okay? So it occurred at 4. Okay. Now, if we look at our height, we have to plug that back in. So we're going to have negative 2, 4 squared plus 16 times 4 plus 40. All right. So when I plug that in the calculator, I actually get 72. So kind of to recap this, that means that our max is 72. We don't really know the units, but it happens at when our x value is 4. Now, that's just going to be a nice way to show us that you know which number belongs to what question it's asking. Last question is, what is the x value when the pebble hits the ground? So you got to remember, we're looking at when it hits the ground, which is that point right there. So how we solve that is we're just going to solve this quadratic. So we want a solution to this quadratic. So we're going to use the quadratic formula. So that's x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 ac, all of that over 2a. Okay, so let's do that b squared minus 4ac part first. So I'm going to have 16 squared minus 4 times negative 2 times 40. Okay, we're going to go ahead and plug that in our calculator. Now that's going to equal 576. Okay, now we're going to plug that back into this part here. So let's go ahead and rewrite this. Our negative b, so negative 16 plus or minus the square root of 576 all over 2 times negative 2. Okay, now we actually have to figure this out. We can't leave it as a radical because we're not going to use that when we answer a question. So let's go ahead and do the square root of 576. And when I do that in my calculator, it actually is 24. So I'm going to have negative 16 plus or minus 24 all over 4 times negative 4, or 4 times negative 2, which is negative 4. Okay. Now remember, we have 2 answers we actually have to do. We have to do negative 16 plus 24 over negative 4. Okay. And also negative 16 minus 24 all over negative 4. Okay. Now let's actually get these numbers. So when we do the top one, so this top one we get actually 8 over negative 4, which is going to be a negative 2. And the bottom one we're going to get a positive 10. Now make sure that when you do that, you do negative 16 minus 24, enter, then divide by negative 4. Now think, we have 2 answers here, but we can't have a negative x value or distance. So this is actually going to be our answer, is 10. That's what the x value would be when the pebble hits. So now the best way to get better at these guys is by trying them. I know they're kind of tough, but all you know to remember is, what is it asking me and how am I going to solve that problem? Go ahead and start the class kick problems now.